Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
You know, there are people out there who've got jobs they just shouldn't have. And you look at that person, you go, why are you even doing this job? You're not suited for it. But it happens. And so here's one in the news. And Keith sent me a note and said, Steve, did you see the update? You talked about this guy before. It's about a judge. It's about a judge. And the guy should not be a judge. He simply should not be a judge. And unfortunately, he is not going to go down without a fight. So, circuit judge faces new charges related to shoplifting from Walmart. Chris Dickerson wrote the story for the West Virginia Record. And this is the guy, I spoke about him before, where a police officer pulled him over because the cop saw him doing something with his cell phone. And when you're driving, you're supposed to not be doing things with your smartphone. And he then got belligerent with the police officer, pulling the old kind of, do you know who I am kind of thing. And it's kind of like, if you have to ask that question, you're doing it wrong. So already facing a state investigation, a Hardy County Circuit Judge faces new disciplinary charges related to shoplifting items from a Walmart. Now, here's the thing that some of you might not know. Judges get paid really well, really well. So the guy's got a job that pays him pretty well. And the accusation is that he was shoplifting from a Walmart. According to the formal statement of charges filed February 14th by the State Judicial Investigation Commission, the Hardy Circuit Judge left the Moorfield Walmart on August 18th, 2021 without paying for 10 or so items in his cart. Now, with that few items in his cart, at least he had the right to go through the quick lane. But apparently, he went a little too quickly because they're saying he didn't pay. He told authorities it was a mistake, and he apparently later paid for the items, but at least one similar incident had happened with him earlier at the same store. So they're saying he has a pattern of doing this, where he gets a shopping cart full of stuff, gets it out to his car, and realizes, oh, I forgot to pay. Here's the thing. This is an honest mistake. Anybody who goes into a store could easily find themselves in the parking lot with a shopping cart full of stuff and go, wait a second, did I pay? Did I not pay? Because, it's so hard to find those cashiers and those cash registers. They hide them. Where are they? The judge was the subject of another JIC formal statement of charges last year after he verbally accosted a Moorfield police officer who had pulled him over, alleging that he used his cell phone while driving and abusing his power. Body cam footage of that incident is online, and there's no question that the judge is completely out of line and the cop was right. He was behaving himself properly. The judge is contesting that charge, and the litigation is ongoing. So this is a guy, he's not going to go down quietly. He's going to fight this. So as to the latest statement of charges, Moorfield Police Chief says Walmart video surveillance footage showed the judge using the store's self-checkout area. He was scanning, bagging, and placing items into his cart. He is then observed pushing his shopping cart out of the store without making any attempts to pay for the items. It was determined that the best course of action would be to contact him and direct him to pay for the merchandise. Now, if you do this and you legitimately scanned a bunch of items but left without paying, maybe it's time you hang up the robe because there might be something else going on there. Now, I might not be as old as this guy. I don't know how old he is. Doesn't say here. But in my life, I have never gone through a self-checkout and forgotten to pay. I never have. Never have. Have you? If you've gone to the self-checkout and forgotten to pay, oops, comment below. So it should also be noted that approximately a year ago, a similar incident occurred with the judge at the Moorfield Walmart where he and his wife had pushed out a substantial amount of merchandise without paying. They later said that neither party realized that the other had not paid. Oh, I thought you paid. Oh, I thought you paid. I've also gone shopping with other people. And either I pay or they pay. But I'm pretty certain I would have noticed if neither of us had paid. And as they say, if something happens one time, you go, oh, that's an aberration. It happens two times, you go, okay, wait a second. So they say they didn't learn of the August 18th incident until September 13th when he was at the Walmart investigating an unrelated shopping incident. And here we're talking about the Moorfield police chief. A store associate told him about the incident with the judge, the two of them. The associate told the Hardee County prosecuting attorney that the judge had contacted her September 14th saying he wished to pay for the items and that it was a mistake. And so they accepted payment in lieu of charges. And as you can imagine, it is a dangerous thing to do for a store to say, if you come into our store, you got to pay for stuff. But if we catch you stealing stuff, we'll let you pay for it and let you go. Because then what's the incentive for anyone to pay? Because they can walk out the door with it. And if they get caught, they can pay for it, which is what they had to do in the first place. So it's no punishment involved. When the August 18th incident occurred, the judge was under investigation by the JIC for the previously filed complaint. Among the allegations investigated was a July 21st, 2020 incident where the judge also left the same Walmart without paying for items in a shopping cart. The latest charges include a note from the police chief about that incident. And it says, contacted Carter concerning the matter. Asset Protection Associate admitted that upon reviewing the incident, Walmart determined it to be accidental and no charges were filed. The JIC was told the amount of items in Williams' shopping cart in the July 21st, 2020 incident totaled about $300 in value, and that another individual was with him. When asked about the 2020 incident during the first investigation in October of 2021, the judge said it actually had been a couple of years earlier and that his wife wasn't with him. He said he started talking to a Walmart employee he knew and thought he had paid with his debit card. He even grabbed a receipt he thought was his for exactly $52. The next day I got a call from Walmart and they said that I hadn't paid. So I thought, oh my God. I rode back up and I paid. The latest charges also note that Williams never disclosed the latest incident when he was being questioned in relation to the first charges. The first time the police chief disclosed the August 18th incident in the GIC was during an interview on February 10th, 2022. Now, a retired Moorfield detective was also interviewed. From 2019 until his retirement in 2021, he handled most of Walmart's shoplifting incidents for the police. He confirmed the 2020 incident and said he didn't know of other previous incidents. But the JIC investigated and they revealed a text exchange between the judge and the Walmart Asset Protection Associate dated August 1st, 2019. It says the judge apologized and paid for the items mistakenly taken. An email notation written by respondent, the judge, just above the text message exchange states, see text. I thought 2020 sounded too recent. It happened in 2019. The final paragraph of the latest formal statement of charges says the judge has the right to file a response within 30 days of service. The judge was licensed to practice law in the state in 1991. So he's been practicing law exactly as long as I have. In fact, he got sworn in September, so did I. He was elected to an 8-year term on the 22nd Judicial Circuit in 2016. He took office 2017. So he's been a judge 4 or 5 years now. Excuse me. And he's been accused of the problem he had with the police officer in traffic and now a couple of shoplifting incidents, which he says were oversights and mistakes and were taken care of and shouldn't be a problem. And here's the thing. The idea that you got caught doing something and you made it good doesn't mean it didn't happen. And we've talked before about the standards that attorneys are held to and the standards that judges are held to. And so if an attorney got caught doing this, that is 2 different incidences where they walked out of the store with merchandise that wasn't paid for, but then paid for it, and people said, oh, that's cool. The Attorney Grievance Commission, the state bar, could still sanction an attorney and say you're doing stuff that makes attorneys look bad because you're on more than one occasion you've done this thing where it looks like you shoplifted. Now, I understand it. You say, but yeah, you made it good. You took care of it. It still looks bad. So you can imagine how bad it looks for a judge to do it more than once. And here's the thing. I've never been in this judge's courtroom. He's in West Virginia. But I've been in enough courtrooms and seen enough judges that a lot of judges will lecture people in front of them. So somebody gets brought in on a charge of, say shoplifting. And they're standing in front of the judge, and they've cut some kind of deal with the prosecutor, and the defense attorney's standing right there, and they put the deal on the record. deal might be the person pays for the stuff that they took, and they might have to stay out of that store for a while, and they might be on probation for a while. If they get in trouble again, they might get slapped harder. And I've seen the judges who will then stop and give them the lecture and say, you understand how stores work. You're old enough to have been in a store before. I assume you've been in a store where you paid for something. You understand that you go into a store and get merchandise off the shelf. You pay for it before you walk outside, don't you? You know that. And I've seen judges give lectures like that or parallel lectures where they're sitting there berating somebody because they did something that everyone knows is wrong, and the only reason they're here is because they got caught. And so you've got a judge walking out of Walmart without paying for stuff, and he says, oh, I thought I paid. I forgot. And if you are a judge, you get paid very, very well, and you've got a lot of power. In your courtroom, you've got you can have people arrested. You can throw people in jail if you're a judge. You can fine people, make them pay money. Judges have a lot of power. But along with that power comes responsibility. Somebody should put that in a movie. And part of that means that when you step outside of your house, or if you're in your house with people there who can see you, you've got to behave understanding that I am a judge. And people don't look at me and evaluate my performance and go, oh, he's just a guy. They look at me and go, oh, there's the judge. That's the judge. Hey, judge, how are you? When this guy goes out in public, people probably address him as, hey, judge, how are you? Hey, Your Honor, good to see you. So when he goes through the checkout at Walmart and forgets to pay, a lot of people go, wait, that's the judge. The judge forgot to pay? The judge doesn't know how this works. And it said right in the story that loss prevention recognized him. They knew who he was. They saw him on the video and they go, oh, that's the judge. That's how right I am on this. They recognized him and knew who he was. So you have got to dial up how well you behave, how good you behave in public. You've got to be good. When people look at you, they go, oh, there's the judge. He's behaving properly. So when the judge walks out with unpaid merchandise, okay, now you might say, Steve, what if it was an honest mistake? The judge made 2 honest mistakes of similar type at the same place. What if they're both honest mistakes? My point is that the judge needs to know that. He has to behave better than an average person. However he behaved as an attorney was one thing. However he behaved before he was an attorney is another. But each time he goes up, it's a step in how he has to adjust his behavior for public perception. So when he goes to the store, he's got to remember, people are looking at me right now and they know that I'm a judge. So the idea that he walked out of the store on 2 different occasions, forgetting to pay for his merchandise, which is not something that ever happens to the average person. And then for him to say, oh, it was an oversight, you shouldn't hold that against me, is crazy. And I'm not saying that they should say, well, he's guilty of shoplifting, kick him off the bench, because charges weren't brought against him. Which might be because he was the judge. They might have thought, well, we can't bring charges against him, he's the judge. So we don't know if he got special treatment there or not. But the point simply is that the commission is looking into him. The Judicial Investigation Commission that's looking into him has got to look at this guy and go, this guy is a walking, whatever the opposite of good PR is. This guy is a walking bundle of bad public relations for the judiciary. He's walking around making the judiciary look bad. He's calling attention to himself and doing bad things. So this is a crazy story. And you would think that the moment you tripped up and got on the radar of the Judicial Investigation Commission, you would simply behave perfectly going forward. Perfectly. Now, I understand some of the timing of this. It may be that these things happened before he had to run in with the cops, but he knew they happened. And he should have guessed that they'd probably figure out about this as they're investigating him. So it's a crazy story. We'll see what happens. I'll update you. Keith, thanks for sending me the update. From the West Virginia Record, Chris Dickerson wrote it. Circuit judge faces new charges related to shoplifting from Walmart. Questions or comments from below? Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. My parents didn't want to move to Florida, but they turned 60 and that's the law.